Hi, Deputy. Can you hear me?
Morning, Judge.
Morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. We're pulling everybody out now, lining them up.
Okay.
Hands out to step on up. Hands out to Judge Lewis. Slide over that behind the crowd. 3 Bibles.
Who you got?
Slide up a piece of space ball. Go on to the right side. Another girl right here. Left. Everybody responsible.
Hey, bring the Vietnamese guy up here front. Your Honor, were you clear on the email where we need a Vietnamese translator?
Yes, ma'am. Miss Wesley, with the magistrate court's office, was able to get someone through the courts who should be here shortly.
Okay. Do you want us to bring him up front or just hang him in the back until they
I think in the back. I don't know that we have that person here yet, I don't believe, and so we'll likely just do him last.
Okay. Never mind. Keep it back there.
What's the guy name?
Start with a B.
Oh, Ben something. Okay. Ben.
Hey. All right, Your Honor, we're ready.
All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is approximately 11:02 a.m. here this morning, and we are now streaming live on YouTube. Today is December 18th of 2023. And again, my name is Judge Marcus Thorpe, and I'm one of the magistrate court judges here presiding over this morning's first appearance calendar. Ladies and gentlemen, there are a couple things I want to talk to you about this morning. So if you all have trouble hearing me, please let me know as I go through these things or as I call you up individually. First of all, let me reiterate to you all, I'm not here to try your case this morning, for you to take a plea or to have any legal discussions with you about the specific facts of your case. The purpose of this first appearance hearing is to inform you of the charges against you, to advise you of certain rights, to set bond on those offenses for which the court is authorized to set bond, to schedule a preliminary hearing, to determine whether you require the assistance of an attorney. Ladies and gentlemen, each of you, excuse me, have several rights that we're going to talk about. You have the right to remain silent. Please do not attempt to tell me again specifics about your case or any legal defense you believe you have, because as I said earlier, that's not what we're here for this morning. And more importantly, there are several witnesses. Each of you that are around one another become a witness, not to mention those of us who are live here that this is being recorded, but also the sheriff's deputy as well. You also have the following rights in addition to the right to remain silent. You have the right to a presumption of innocence, to indictment by a grand jury for felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors. You have the right to a speedy and public trial by jury, to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your behalf, to see, hear, and question witnesses who are called to testify against you, to testify on your own behalf or offer evidence in your own defense, and to have an attorney represent you. If you cannot afford an attorney, then I will appoint one here for you to represent you if you qualify this morning. Also, if you are not a citizen, there are some charges that may adversely affect your immigration status, and you will need to consult with an attorney on that, as I will not be able to discuss that with you this morning. Now, in addition to the charges, I'm also going to talk to each of you, ladies and gentlemen, about bond. Now, some of you will be allowed to post what are called unrestricted bonds for your release from jail pending the closure of your case. These bonds may be posted in 3 ways. You can pay cash for your bond, you can do what is called a commercial bond, or a property bond. If you post a cash bond, then someone or yourself will deliver the full amount of the bond in cash, together with any fees, to the sheriff's office, who will hold it until your final court date, at which time your cash will be returned to the person who posted it. If you do not have the full amount in cash, you could also use what we call a commercial bonding company. Usually when you use a bonding company, they may require anywhere from 12 to 15% of the bond for their services. However, the difference is this fee will not be returned to you. So the example I like to use is if you are charged with a battery family violence, as an example, and I tell you your bond is $6,000. The first way that you can make bond is to pay the $6,000 in total, or have a family friend to do it for you. And then once your case closes, they get that money back. The second way I just spoke about would be with the commercial bond, a bonding company. You'd be required to pay 12 to 15% of that, which on a 6,000 bond is going to come out to roughly about 750 to 1,000. That is a part of it that the bonding company will keep, and then they post the remainder of it for you. Now, the final way that you may post bond would be with what's called a property bond. And this is where you have someone bring down their title or deed to their property. The catch to it is they must have at least 3 times the amount of your bond in equity in their property. So if your bond is $6,000, that battery example I talked about, then they have to have at least $18,000 in equity in their property. They would bring down their deed to their property. The sheriff's office would hold on to it until your case is closed, at which time it can be returned to its rightful owner. Now, there are some of you all, ladies and gentlemen, who will have special conditions that prohibit you from contacting certain people or going certain places. If you have a no contact provision on your bond, this means you must stay away and have no contact with the alleged victim. You may not call, text, email, write a letter to, or contact with through any social media platform. You can't even do something that you believe would be nice for that person, such as sending them flowers or a song. As nice as it may be, ladies and gentlemen, it would be a violation of your bond, and you would end up back in custody here on additional charges. Now, I order some of you all, in addition to stay away from certain people, you may also have you may be prohibited from returning to certain residences. That means you can't go to that location for any reason. Now, if it turns out that the no return location is a place that you lived before you were arrested, please let the sheriff's office know that. Because there will be a part on your form where I have identified that if you lived there prior to this incident allegedly happening, until your case is closed, you can return there, but you can only do so when you are accompanied by law enforcement. So again, the example I talked about, if your bond is $6,000, I tell you, you have to stay away from your boyfriend or girlfriend. That means no contact. But then I also tell you that you can't return to that address where the incident happened, where you shared a residence with that person. That means the only chance that you have to go into that residence would be as soon as you're released, so long as you are accompanied by the sheriff's office. Remember, with that appointment, ladies and gentlemen, you will need to make that appointment within 10 days of your being released. Now, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, there are some of you all, a percentage of you, that will be back in custody on these bond revocations because you didn't take what I'm going to say seriously. Instead, you will reconcile with the victim, but please, please listen to me. You do not want to return to that residence. You do not want to return to having contact with that victim because you will otherwise face additional charges unless your case is resolved or you get the bond modified, excuse me. Now, if you do violate the bond order, I want to be specific and make sure that you understand the additional charges are what amount to aggravated stalking or what is called influencing a witness, which means you could face up to 20 years additional in prison by simply violating the requirement that I'm going to give you this morning to stay away from that particular person. Now, lastly, the final thing that I want to talk to you all about, ladies and gentlemen, is what is called a preliminary hearing. Now, for those of you all who are charged with felonies, you automatically have a right to a preliminary hearing, and I'm going to tell you that day here this morning. The purpose of a preliminary hearing is to determine whether there is enough evidence or probable cause to keep you detained on your charges. If you bond out and I give you your preliminary hearing, you automatically waive it because you're out of jail and no longer in custody. If you're charged with a misdemeanor and no felonies, then I'm going to ask you whether you want to waive that preliminary hearing or if you would like to have it. Now, what's the difference? If you're charged with a misdemeanor, you have a right to hear what evidence the police have against you if you're still in custody. If you decide you want to have that hearing, I'll give you a date about 30 days out from today. And if you don't make bond, you'll have that hearing. If, however, you do make bond, as I said, it will be waived. If you tell me, Judge, I don't want my hearing either way, I want to waive it. What's going to happen is I'm going to send your case directly to the prosecutor, which means it's going to move a little faster. Now, let me be clear. The court does not have any preference whether you have the hearing or waive it. I just need to make sure that each of you understand that you have that right if you are charged with a misdemeanor. Again, if you are charged with a felony, you will automatically get that hearing so long as you don't bond out. Now, finally, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to just go ahead and swear everybody in. If I could have all of the men and women, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the information that you're about to give to this court, well as any information you provide on your application for court-appointed counsel, is true and correct? If so, say I do.
I do.
Okay, each of you can put your hands down now. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Interpreter, I assume you're here for the gentleman that speaks Vietnamese? Mr. Interpreter, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Deputies, I'm sorry, the interpreter is here on now, so I think we need to go ahead and handle Mr. Nguyen first.
Yes, sir.
Let me look this.
All y'all go back.
All right, give me 1 second, sir. All right, Mr. Interpreter, if you would, please raise your right hand. Now, do you swear or affirm that you intend to interpret as I tell you to do so? And if you do, please say I do.
I do.
All right. And what's your last name, Mr. Interpreter?
Pham.
Mr. Pham, if you would, please introduce yourself to Mr. Nguyen is his name.
Yes, sir. Anh Nguyễn, anh tên là gì? Tôi tên là Trung Phạm, tôi là thông dịch viên của tòa nha. Em tên gì?
Là Nguyễn Thanh Bình.
Okay. Now, Mr. Nguyen, excuse me, Mr. Pham, I want to go over a couple of things with Mr. Nguyen before we get started here. First
Yes,
of all,
sir.
please let him know that I want to talk to him about what he's charged with this morning.
Cái buổi tòa hôm nay đó là chỉ là cho tòa sẽ báo cho em biết là người ta công tố em về cái tội gì nha. Yes,
We
sir.
are not here to try your case or for you to take a plea.
Hôm nay đó là chỉ báo cho em biết là em bị bắt vì cái tội gì thôi chứ không có phân xử gì hết.
Okay. And I don't want you to tell me anything specific about your case because this is being recorded and there are witnesses.
Rồi thành thử là em đừng có nói gì hết, em chỉ nghe thôi. Tại chúng tôi sẽ báo cho em biết là cái tội của người ta bắt em vì cái tội gì thôi. Tại vì những cái lời mà em khai ở đây đó thì trong tương lai em ra những cái tòa khác mà phân xử đó thì những cái lời đó có thể dùng để mà công tố em đó nha. Thành thử em đừng có nói gì hết.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So beginning with your charges, Mr. Nguyen, you are charged with 1 count of battery family violence and 1 count of criminal trespass.
Cái tội của em thứ nhất đó là người ta bắt em là cái tội là bạo động ở trong gia đình và cái tội thứ hai nữa đó là em là xâm phạm gia cư bất hợp pháp.
Okay. Your bond for the battery family violence is $3,500 and for the criminal trespass $1,500.
Thì cái tiền mà tại ngoại hầu tra đó là cái tội thứ nhất á, là 3.500 và cái tội mà xâm phạm vô gia cư đó là 1.500. Thì cái là hai cái đó là em đóng tiền đó thì em sẽ được tại ngoại hầu tra.
You can make bond in 3 ways. You can pay it in cash, or you can use a bonding company to pay 12 to 15%, or someone can bring their property deed down here to the sheriff's office.
Thì có 3 cách để mà mình có thể đóng cái tiền bond đó. Thứ nhất là mình có tiền mặt mà tổng cộng là 5.000 đồng đó là 3.500, em có thể đóng tiền mặt vô. Cái thứ hai nữa đó là em có thể dùng những cái công ty mà người ta cho vay tiền. Thì khi mà em dùng những cái công ty để cho vay tiền và đóng cho em đó thì cái tiền đó là 12 tới 15% là cái lệ phí đó. Rồi cái thứ ba nữa là nếu mà em có tài sản thì em thấy dùng cái tài sản đó để thế chấp vô, rồi thì cái đó là cách thứ ba mình có thể đóng cái tiền bond.
Cho em hỏi được không anh?
Can I have a question, Your Honor?
Yes.
Dạ được.
Em không có xâm cư pháp nhà đó nhà của em mà.
Em nói sao?
Em không có xâm nhập gia cư bất hợp pháp, nhà đó là nhà của em, nhà đứng lên mà.
Yeah. So the second charge is doesn't make any sense because I own that house, sir.
Well, again, remember, Mr. Nguyen, I can't get into your charges today. I'm just here to tell you what you were arrested for.
Ok, để tôi nhắc lại cho em. Hôm nay đó là không có phân xử gì hết. Và thứ hai nữa là em đừng có nói gì hết. Tại vì cái này bữa nay là chúng tôi chỉ báo cho em biết là chống mà là bắt vì cái tội gì thôi nha. Thành thử là không có nói gì hết. Ok, sir. Dạ.
Now, as a part of what we were talking about, you do have special conditions, sir.
Thì đó thì khi mà cái bond á, mà nếu mà em có đóng cái tiền bond đó thì em ra thì nó có những cái điều khoản như thế này.
You will have to stay away from Cam Nguyen.
Thì tụi em không có được gần cái người tên là Kim Nguyễn.
You're also going to have to stay away from the address of 1165 Vienna Court.
Rồi ngay cái căn nhà đó là cái địa chỉ là 1165 đó là em không được về cái căn nhà đó.
If that's where you were living, then if you make your bond, you need to contact the sheriff's office there and let them know so that they can escort you to your property to get some items you need until your case is closed.
Nếu là cái nhà trong cái trường hợp nhà đó là cái nhà mà em đang ở trong cái nhà đó thì em có những cái vật tư của em, thì khi mà em chở tới để em lấy những cái đồ rồi riêng tư của em ra đó thì là em phải đi với một cái người sheriff, người ta sẽ escort em, người ta sẽ đi theo em để mà tới đó em mình mới được lấy những cái vật dụng mà riêng tư của em ra.
Okay. Please abide by my request, because if you fail to do so, you could end up being arrested if you have any contact with her or go to that address without law enforcement.
Đó thì làm ơn nha, để tôi khuyên anh, là tôi khuyên ông là theo tuân thủ những cái mà lời của tôi nói. Nếu mà không làm đúng theo cái lời đó thì là chúng tôi sẽ bắt anh ở trong tù lại.
Okay. Do you have any questions about that, sir?
Rồi, em có hỏi những câu hỏi gì nữa không? Bình hiểu rồi phải không?
Mình hiểu nhưng mà anh không cho em hỏi, bây giờ sao em hỏi? Tại vì nhà
Thì
đó là
tòa mới 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 nói đó là em có những câu hỏi gì không, thì là cái cơ hội em hỏi, thì em có thắc mắc gì em cứ hỏi.
thì em là em có thắc mắc đó, nhưng mà giờ em hỏi cũng không được thì sao giờ?
Yes, I have a question, but I don't I don't know. I'm not allowed to question Your Honor.
Well, you will have a later time to ask about the charges when you have an attorney with you.
Ok, là bây giờ thì tôi sẽ cho em biết là trong tương là sẽ có một luật sư. Ok, khi mà em liên lạc với luật sư của em sẽ liên lạc với lại em, rồi luật sư em sẽ bắt đầu là sẽ bàn thảo những cái kê của em, nó rõ ràng hơn, chị hiểu không chị?
Okay.
Yes sir.
Are you currently working, Mr. Nguyen?
Bây giờ em có đang đi làm không?
Dạ em đang đi làm nail anh.
Yes sir, I'm working as a nail tech.
Okay. And about how much do you make per month?
Một tháng thì trung bình em làm bao nhiêu tiền?
4.000 mấy anh.
It's about $4,000.
Okay. Do you believe you'll have that job when you're released?
Thì khi mà em đi ra em nghĩ là em có trở lại em còn làm được cái chỗ đó không?
Nếu mà hôm nay anh Cẩm nó bêu em ra đó, Cẩm là bạn gái của em đó, bạn bêu em ra cũng như nãy trước nó bêu em ra thì ngày mai em đi làm thì ok, nhưng mà lâu quá thì không được.
Tức là khi mà em ra là em vẫn còn cái job đó hả?
Đúng rồi.
Yes sir.
Okay. Now, because of that, sir, I am not authorized to appoint you an attorney this morning, and you will have to hire your own attorney.
Ok, vì cái lý do là em làm cái số lương của em là 4.000 đó, thì cái số tiền đó là à, em không có đủ tiêu chuẩn để được cái luật sư công nha. Thành thử là khi mà em ra đó thì là em nên liên lạc với là một luật sư riêng của em, ok, để giúp em.
Dạ.
All
Yes
right,
sir.
now the last thing I want to talk to you about is what is called a preliminary hearing.
Thành thử bây giờ là cái để tôi giải thích cho em cái phiên tòa kế tiếp như như thế nào nha.
When you are charged with a misdemeanor, you have a right to have a hearing where the police officer shows up and tells the judge all of the evidence he has against you.
Ok, thì cái tòa kế tiếp đó, tại vì là cái tội của em nó chỉ là tiểu hình thôi, thì cái tòa kế tiếp đó là em được quyền ra tòa rồi để mà nghe, em có thể là chấp những cái để mà hạch hỏi những cái người à, bắt em đó, những cái cảnh sát bắt em đó là lý do như thế nào bắt em nếu mà em ra cái tòa đó.
Okay. This is not your trial. It is something that would happen in the next 30 days.
Đó, tại vì cái tòa đó là nó không có phải là để mà phân xử phải trái ở trong cái tòa đó đâu, chỉ ra ra cái phiên đó là chị hỏi là nó có đủ cái bằng chứng là để bắt em thôi, chứ không phải là để mà phân xử.
Okay. And this hearing would happen if you don't make your bond.
Đó thì cái quan tòa đó đó, nếu là chỉ cái khi nào mà nó xảy ra là nếu mà em không có đóng cái bond.
Now, because you are charged with misdemeanors, I can set that hearing date for you in 30 days, or I can waive that hearing for you and send your case directly to the prosecutor.
Đó thành thử là đó là tùy là theo cái ý của em, là nếu mà em mà muốn có cái em muốn dự cái tòa đó, em yêu cầu là có cái phiên tòa đó, thì em cũng được, hoặc là em bỏ, em không cần cái phiên tòa đó, thì để đi tới trực tiếp tới để bỏ cái phiên tòa đó đi, không cần cái phiên tòa đó, rồi rồi em có thể là trường hợp đó là em có thể là đi chờ cái phiên tòa để mà phân xử luôn, ok.
Okay. The difference between having the hearing and not having the hearing will just mean your case will move a little faster.
Dạ, nó chỉ khác biệt nhau thế nào, nếu mà trường hợp em bỏ cái phiên tòa kế kế tiếp đó thì nó làm cho cái kê của em nó lẹ hơn thôi, là em có tới em sẽ trực tiếp em tới à, cái phiên tòa, ra cái phiên tòa chính để mà phân xử, chứ không có cần phải đi tới cái phiên tòa pre à, kế tiếp để nghe là lý do tại sao nó bắt em hiểu không, nó nhanh hơn.
All right, sir. What would you like to do? Would you like me to set that hearing date for you, or would you like to waive your preliminary hearing date?
Đó thì ý em muốn như thế nào, em muốn yêu cầu có cái phiên tòa đó, hay là em muốn đi thẳng tới để mà xử luôn không?
Không phải yêu cầu gì hết anh.
No. I wanted to waive it cho nè.
Okay. All right, sir. Well, I'm going to put down that you have waived your hearing. If you make your bond, sir, please remember to give the sheriff's office your new address if it changes when you're released.
Dạ. Ok, thì tôi sẽ đề trong cái hồ sơ là em không có cần muốn đi tới phiên tòa preliminary hearing nha, thì nhưng mà cái khi mà em ra đó, em sẽ báo cho sở cảnh sát biết đó là em sẽ ở cái chỗ, cái nơi ở mới của em là cái gì, để cho người ta biết, ok.
Tại vì em vẫn còn ở chung với cái địa chỉ đó mà anh.
Um, sir, I will stay. It's my house, Your Honor.
No, sir. You cannot return to that house unless the sheriff goes with you and your case. Excuse me. Let me retract
Không
that.
được. Tại
No,
vì
sir. No, sir. You cannot return to that house until your case is closed.
no. tòa không có cho em trở lại cái căn nhà đó cho tới khi nào mà cái kê của em xử, tại vì đó là những cái điều kiện để tòa thả em ra, em phải ở một cái nơi khác.
If you have any items there that you need to obtain, please make sure that you get the sheriff to go with you.
Đó rồi em có những cái những cái gì mà riêng tư của em nên em muốn tới em lấy thì em phải có sheriff đi theo em tới đó rồi em mới lấy ra rồi em chở lại cái căn nhà mới của em, cái địa chỉ mới.
Okay. All right, sir. Well, I don't have anything else for you, sir. Good luck to you.
Ok, nó là hôm nay nó là như vậy thôi nha. Rồi khi em ra em nhớ mướn luật sư giúp em. Ok em.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you, Mr. Interpreter.
You're welcome, Joanna. Bye bye.
Thank you, Mr. Nguyen. That's all I have.
Dạ, cảm ơn anh Nguyễn. Anh vô đi. Xong rồi, dạ.
All right, Deputy, we'll go ahead with the females now. Starting, I have first here, I believe it should be Jacobs. Give me 1 second, Ms. Jacobs. Paperwork here.
So I can call.
Let's follow you, call anybody.
So from here.
If there's, Brooks Trail, keep going up to the water.
I'm almost there. Give me 1 second, Ms. Jacobs. I'm just trying to get everything.
You take out the report. You gotta make a report though. Four odds on the four.
He's lost.
I know. Can you let me borrow the form? Yes, the unit, the mental unit. Oh, what? Now. You go for it. When that, 8.
Wow.
You gotta get that down.
What's your last name?
Are you Ms. Jacobs?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, Ms. Jacobs, you're charged with 1 count of driving with a suspended license and 1 count of driving with a stop sign violation. Ma'am, initially you were given a bond of $1,500 for the suspended license and a bond of $500 for the stop sign violation. However, after review of your criminal history, we are going to go ahead and release you here this morning, ma'am. That does not mean that your case is being closed. I need you to understand that your case is still moving forward, but you will be released later today by the sheriff's office. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions about anything?
No, sir.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Next up, Deputy, it should be Cynthia Davenport. I went out of order by accident. Should be Cynthia Davenport.
Ma'am, come back. You gotta sign. Sign here and then you sign.
Are you Ms. Davenport?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Davenport, you're charged with 1 count of simple battery. Your bond amount is $3,500. You do have special stay away conditions that I mentioned earlier, ma'am, and that is to stay away from the alleged victim, Ms. Samira Ritchie, to also stay away from the address of 725 Highway 138. So as I said earlier, ma'am, if you were listening, if you do live at that particular address, please understand that if you make your bond, that you're going to have to contact the sheriff's office and ask that they assist you within 10 days of your release to get any items that belong to you outside of that piece of property. Do you understand, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Now, you are charged with misdemeanors, as I mentioned earlier. And so what that means is, as I was discussing, is that you have the right to what is called a preliminary hearing, or you can waive that preliminary hearing. So it's really just up to you. Would you like to have that hearing, or would you like to waive that hearing?
No, sir, I'd like to have that hearing.
You said you would like to have it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now being charged with misdemeanors, ma'am, you have a particular court date that I'm going to give you here for your preliminary hearing. And that preliminary hearing date, ma'am, is going to be January 30th of 2023, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
All right, just give me 1 second here. I'm writing down all of your information here. So again, your bond amount is going to be $3,500. You do have special conditions to stay away from the alleged victim, to stay away from that address. You've elected, if you do not make your bond, to go ahead and have your hearing, which will be on the 30th of next month at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. I understand that you're still working, and you got here that, are you making about $8,500? Is that per month, Ms. Davenport?
Yes.
Okay, so based on that, ma'am, I'm not going to be able to appoint you an attorney this morning. So if you do desire to have an attorney for your case, you will have to obtain your own. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about anything?
No, sir.
All right, ma'am, so I am gonna go ahead and let you go. If you don't need me to have any questions for me, that's about all I have for you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next up, I have Miss, I believe it's Deviana Renee Johnson. Are you Miss Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson, you were charged with 1 count of robbery and 1 count of criminal trespass. Your bond amount in the criminal trespass is $2,000. Your bond amount in the robbery, ma'am, is going to be 0. I have dismissed that charge against you, so you're only going to have the 1 remaining count, criminal trespass. You do have special conditions, ma'am, and that is to stay away from the alleged victim, Erica Brumby. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And so again, you understand that you're to have no contact of any kind, and that a failure to abide by that means that you could be arrested again. Now, about, so it says here that you're earning about $900 to $1,000 a month. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I am going to go ahead based on that and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer this morning. Earlier, I was talking about the preliminary hearing, and you're having a right to that hearing, or you can waive that hearing. It's really just up to you. I don't have a preference one way or the other. So what would you like to do? Would you like to have that hearing or waive that hearing, ma'am?
So if I waive it, does that mean I would have to sit and wait?
No, so let me explain that again. So the preliminary hearing is a hearing that you have when you're arrested within 30 days, whereupon the police will come to the judge and show the judge all the evidence they have against you. It's not your trial, but you can have an attorney there to represent you. Now, if you make your bond, you're never going to have that hearing if you make your bond. But let's say you don't make your bond, you've got 2 choices. You can have that hearing, and I'll set the date for you, or you can say, Judge, I don't want that hearing. Go ahead and send my case to the prosecutor, and it moves a little faster. So which would you like to do, ma'am?
I think if I try to do the commercial bond, then I don't want to.
Okay, so would you like me to waive the hearing then?
Yes.
Okay. All right, ma'am. So I'm going to put here that you have put down that you want me to waive the hearing. So again, your bond amount, we've already provided that to you. That's going to be $2,000. You've requested that I go ahead and waive your bond hearing, so I am doing that as well. And then lastly, you do qualify for an attorney, and so I provided that to you as well. Okay, ma'am?
All right.
Do you have any questions about anything?
No.
All right. Good luck to you, ma'am. Next up should be Jennifer Johnson.
Hello.
Hi, are you Miss Jennifer Johnson?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Miss Johnson, you are charged with 1 count of public drunk. Your bond amount is going to be $1,000, ma'am. You're also going to have a special condition. That means you cannot return to Hartsville Airport, ma'am, unless you are there to travel or you work there, okay?
Yes, sir. I understand. And
Now, I understand you are not working right now. Is that correct?
that's correct. I talked to my mother. I think she might already have me bonded out by now.
Okay.
But I am going home to her, and she is going to support me, her and my grandma. So I don't
Okay.
make So I don't
Okay.
fall back into, the patterns. I'm
Okay.
embarrassed. I'm sorry.
No problem.
about my
That's good.
behavior.
No problem. That's good news to hear. So let me ask you this. So since you plan on getting out, do you want me to set this preliminary hearing date for you or waive it? Now, again, if you make your bond, you're gonna waive it automatically anyhow.
Right, waive it.
Okay. All right, ma'am. So I've gone ahead and put down that you have waived your right to your hearing. So I don't have any other further things for you, ma'am, and good luck to you, and I wish you well.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yes, sir. Thank you.
Next up, I have Miss Alize Mays.
Go ahead.
Mays. So what's the,
And then after Mays should be Dominique Victor.
sir, what's the last here?
Mays, Mays. I had that as oh, I'm sorry. I'm showing that as a male. I'm sorry. That's my fault.
The next one should be, what's the last?
Victor.
Victor.
Yep, Victor. That's who I've got. Dominique Victor. Are you Miss Victor?
Yes, sir.
Give me 1 second, Miss Victor.
Simple.
All right, so Miss Victor, you are charged. You are charged here with 1 count of stop sign violation and 1 count of driving with a suspended license, Miss Victor. Your bond amount on the stop sign violation is $500. Your bond amount on the license charge is $1,500 for a total bond of $2,000, ma'am. Now, reviewing your information here, I understand you're making about $1,000 per month. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so with what you are charged with, these are called misdemeanors, ma'am. And so you have the right to either have your preliminary hearing or waive your preliminary hearing, as I spoke about earlier. Again, waiving that hearing moves your case a little faster. Preliminary hearing, I'll set a hearing date for you, where the police will come in and allow you to hear what evidence they have against you within the next 30 days. What would you like for me to do, ma'am?
I'll waive it.
Okay. All right, ma'am. So I'm gonna put here down that you have requested that I waive your hearing, ma'am. If you don't have any questions for me, ma'am, that's all I have for you this morning.
Thank you.
All right, good luck to you.
Uh,
Next up, I am showing Miss Latonya Wilson.
Victor. Dominique Victor.
Are you Miss Wilson?
Yes, I am. Good day, Your Honor.
Good morning, ma'am. Miss Wilson, you're charged with 1 count of simple battery family violence and 1 count of criminal trespass. The simple battery carries a bond amount of $2,500 and the criminal trespass of $1,500 for a total bond amount of $4,000. You do have special conditions, ma'am, and that's to stay away from the alleged victim, Mr. Perry Bridgemore, and to also stay away from the address 414 Monterey Drive. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
So, ma'am, if you do live there or you live there at some point, please understand that you have to stay away until such time as your case is closed, and that the only time that you can return there is if you need any items, and you need to contact the sheriff's office within 10 days of your release. Now, as to your preliminary hearing, ma'am, that I spoke of earlier, would you like to have that hearing or waive that hearing?
Waive it, Your Honor.
All right, ma'am. I'll go ahead and I'm going to show that you have requested that I waive your hearing this morning. I believe that's all I have for you, ma'am. Good luck to you.
Good day.
All right.
The last
Next
name.
up,
This
next up should be Tiana Winfrey.
What's the last name? Wilson? Okay, Wilson. Step ahead, we'll have to pay for this.
Right. Tiana Winfrey and then Brianna Wright. Are you Miss Winfrey?
Yes, sir.
Miss Winfrey, you're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass, 1 count of disorderly conduct, and 1 count of obstruction of an officer. Your bond amount for the trespass is $1,500. It is also $1,500 for the disorderly, and then finally $2,500 for the obstruction, for a total bond of $5,500. You do have a special condition, ma'am, and that's to stay away from the Hartsfield Airport unless you are going there for work or you're going there for travel. Do you understand that, ma'am? Do you understand that, ma'am? Miss Winfrey? Okay. Miss Winfrey, I see here you put that you are making about $2,500 a month. Is that still correct? Okay. Are you working right now? Okay. Okay, so I am gonna go ahead, ma'am, and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer this morning. Now earlier I spoke about preliminary hearings. Would you like me to set your preliminary hearing date or would you like to waive that hearing? I'm sorry? Okay. All right, I heard you say waive, is that correct? All right, ma'am. So I'm gonna put waived down. Your bond amount's 5,500. You're to stay away from the
Hold on,
Hartsfield Air, ma'am.
Is that the whole 5,500 or I can do the commercial bond?
You can do the commercial bond. So if you want to do the commercial bond, you need about 12 to 15%, which is going to be about $600 to $700. Okay. All right. Good luck to you, ma'am. And lastly, for the females, I have Bernicia Wright. Are you Miss Wright? All right, so Miss Wright, I have here you're charged with 1 count of battery family violence, 1 count of criminal trespass, and a 2nd count of simple battery family violence. The battery carries a bond of $3,500, the trespass $1,500, and the simple battery also carries a bond amount of $2,500. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And so your total bond amount, ma'am, is going to be $8,500. You do have special conditions, and that's to stay away from the alleged victim, Mr. Edward Favors, and from the address of 1668 Deer Crossing Drive. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And so, of course, if you violate that, ma'am, you'll be right back here. So please don't do that. If that's where you reside, please, and you make your bond, contact the sheriff's office, and they'll escort you down there within 10 days of your release, okay?
Okay.
Now, because you're charged with misdemeanors, you do have the right to a preliminary hearing, or I can waive that hearing. What would you like for me to do this morning, ma'am?
Wait.
All right, so I'm gonna show you asked me to waive that hearing. Based on the information you provided, ma'am, I have appointed you a court-appointed lawyer this morning as well. That's all I have for you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. So first up, I show Deputy Mr. Daryl Craig Gray couldn't be here this morning.
Go inside sandwich.
Is that correct, Deputy?
Hold on 1 second, sir.
Okay.
What does the sheet say at the top?
I had one here showing medical for Mr. Daryl Craig Gray.
Does that say standby?
Nope, it just says medical.
Right here.
Is he right there?
Everybody else.
Oh yeah, it does say standby at the it was cut off. I think it does say standby.
I'll bring it up. Okay, he's ready.
Okay.
Oh, no. Okay. Inmate Martin, come here. Sorry.
All right. Are you Mr. Gray?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gray, you are charged with 1 count of criminal trespass and 1 count of disorderly conduct, which each carries a bond amount of $1,500 for a total bond of $3,000. You do have a special condition, sir, and that's to stay away from Hartsfield Airport unless you're there for work or travel, okay? Now, let me ask you, are you currently working, sir? All right, so I am gonna get a lawyer for you here free of charge that's gonna help you on your case, okay?
Yes, sir.
So you are charged with a couple misdemeanors here. Did you hear what I said earlier about a preliminary hearing?
No.
So the preliminary hearing is where you get a chance to have the police come in and the police are gonna have to tell the judge about all the evidence they have against you. It's not your trial, it's just where they come in and talk to the judge. And you can be there and the attorney can be there, or you can say, Judge, I don't want that hearing. Go ahead and send my case to the prosecutor. Okay, do you understand which one you want? I'm sorry?
You don't matter.
Okay, so let me do this, sir. I don't want to waive something here because I want to make sure that we protect you. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna set your preliminary hearing date for you. And your preliminary hearing date is gonna be January 30th of 2023, and that's gonna be at 8:30 a.m. So if you don't get out, if you're still in custody on January 30th, they're gonna bring you back and look at your case again, okay?
This is for being asleep all the time?
Yes, sir. All right, sir. Good luck to you. Next up should be Xavier Ingram.
No, you had one. Give it up before.
Okay, you keep over there.
Mr. Xavier Ingram.
Y'all left off.
I got it.
And after Mr. Ingram is Tory Jackson.
You gotta go to medical.
Are you Mr. Ingram?
Yes, sir.
All right, so Mr. Ingram, you are charged with one count of simple battery, one count of battery, and one count of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. The bond amount on the simple battery is $2,500. The bond amount on the battery is $3,500, and the bond amount on the firearm is $8,000, for a total bond of $14,000. You do have a special condition, sir, and that's to stay away from the alleged victims, Arthur Bender and Delicia Bender as well. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You're also to stay away from the address of 1507 Pine Drive, apartment 15. So if that's where you're living, sir, please speak to the sheriff's office if you make your bond so that they can accompany you over to that residence while you're waiting for your case to close. So I understand you are not working, sir, so I am going to go ahead and I'm going to appoint you a court-appointed lawyer this morning, okay? Now, your preliminary hearing date, because you are charged with felonies, you do get that preliminary hearing date. So if you don't make your bond, your next court date is going to be January 29th of 2024, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Okay.
Do you have any questions about anything at all, sir?
And can you say the bond again?
$2,500 for the simple battery,
All together,
14,000.
14,000. All right.
Yes, sir. All right, good luck to you, sir.
All right, appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Next up is Tory Jackson.
Did you wait?
He did not. He is charged with felony. And after Mr. Jackson is Andrew King. Are you Mr. Jackson?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jackson, you are charged with one count of violation of Georgia Controlled Substances Act. Your bond amount is $5,000, sir. Now, are you working right now?
Yes, sir.
How much are you making per month, sir?
About $5,000.
Okay. So based on that, sir, well, let me ask you, are you gonna still have that job if you bond out?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Work tonight.
All right.
Soon as I
So I am not going to be able to appoint you a lawyer. So that means if you want a lawyer on your case, you're gonna have to hire your own. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
Right. If you do not make bond for some reason, your next court date is going to be January 29th of 2024. And that's gonna be at 8:30 a.m. and it's gonna be via Zoom like you are here today. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir, unless you have any questions for me, that's all I have for you, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, good luck to you.
Yes, sir.
Jackson?
Next up should be Mr. King.
No, I don't need that. All the way down on the right. King is coming up, sir.
Yes, sir. Oh, yes, ma'am. Are you Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. King, you're charged with one count of simple assault. Your bond amount is $2,000. You are to stay away from the alleged victim, a Joshua Swisher. And if you are to stay away from the address of 10791 Wheeler Trace. If that's where you live, and I'm not saying you do, but if you do, and you're released, sir, please understand that you have to contact the sheriff's office within 10 days to accompany you there to get any items that belong to you. Do you understand? All right, let me ask you, are you currently working, sir?
Yes, sir.
How much do you earn per month? How much, sir?
3,500.
Okay. Do you believe you'll still have that job if you're released?
Yes.
All right. So based on that, sir, you do not qualify for a court-appointed lawyer, so you would have to hire one of your own choosing if and when you make bond. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes.
Now, lastly, I don't know if you heard me, but I was talking to you or everyone about preliminary hearings. You have the right to that hearing, or you can waive that hearing. It's completely up to you. What would you like to do, sir? Would you like to have that hearing or waive that hearing?
I'd like to have that hearing after I bond.
All right. You said you'd like to have that hearing after what, sir?
After I bond.
If you bond out, sir, you automatically waive your right to it.
Okay.
So it only happens if you're still in custody.
Okay.
So would you like me to set that hearing and then just see what happens? Okay, you want to waive it? All right, sir. So I'm going to show that you have asked me to waive your bond hearing this morning. And so again, your bond amount is going to be the $2,000 for the simple assault. You do have special conditions, and you will have to hire your own lawyer, and you've asked me to waive your preliminary hearing. Good luck to you, sir. All right. Next up should be Vontae Lee. And after Mr. Lee, I have Mays, M-A-Y-E-S. Are you Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Lee, you're charged here with one count of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Sir, I am not authorized to grant you bond here this morning. Based on the information, it was pretty close, but based on the information I have here, it looks like you still may be on probation out of Fulton County. If it turns out that I'm incorrect, sir, please let your attorney know and they can advise you what to do to correct that. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Now, what I'm showing here, sir, is that you are currently not working, so I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer. And if you don't make bond, your next court date is going to be January 29th at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom. Do you understand that, sir?
Yeah, how can I get a bond?
Well, so what'll happen is you're going to get another court date. That's going to be your preliminary hearing. And I apologize, I didn't give you your bond hearing date, but you're going to have 2 court dates coming up here. And at those court dates, sir, they'll review your bond and make a decision if, in fact, they want to alter that bond. And that's where your attorney will have an opportunity to discuss with them an alteration of your bond as well, okay?
Yes.
So that bond hearing date is going to be February 15th at 8:30 a.m. So you got 2 court dates. The first is your prelim on the 29th of January of next month. The second is February 15th of 2024 at 8:30 a.m. for your bond hearing, okay?
Yes.
All right, good luck to you, sir. Next is Alize Jordan Mays, and after Mr. Mays is Anthony McGee.
Good evening.
Good. Hello, sir. Are you Mr. Mays?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mays, you're charged with 1 count of aggravated assault. I've reviewed the information here, sir, and based on the allegations, I am denying you bond this morning. However, of course, you have an opportunity to have that heard at a later date where they can reconsider your bond. Should you be granted bond at a later date, sir, you are going to have special conditions. And that's going to be to stay away from the alleged victim of Mr. Jordan Clark, and also to stay away from the address of 6237 Continental Circle. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes.
Now, you are currently working, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, so based on that, sir, you do not qualify for a court-appointed lawyer. So if you do want to have a lawyer on this case, you will have to hire your own. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, you lastly, sir, got a couple court dates here coming up that I'm going to tell you about. The first, because you are charged with a felony, is going to be your preliminary hearing date of January 29th of 2024, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. So again, January 29th, 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. And then you're also going to have a bond hearing date of February 15th at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that?
So, yes, sir.
All right, you sound like you had a question. What's your question?
This is my first offense, so I was just wondering why I do not have bond, like what special occasion?
Because of those facts, sir. Those facts are pretty horrendous, and this is not a comment on your case. Let me say, I don't know whether you're guilty or not, but it's my job to make sure that I put what I believe to be an appropriate bond based on the allegations and or your risk of flight. At this particular time, based on the allegations, I alone have denied you bond. You may get a bond at a later date, but you just don't have one right now. Okay?
What time would I know if I have a bond or not?
Your next court date, January 29th at 8:30 a.m. or at your February 15th bond hearing. They'll reconsider bond at one of those days.
There's no other time. There's because
Not unless your attorney chooses to advise you that they want to move for a bond hearing earlier, sir.
how would I hire my own?
Yep, you're gonna have to hire your own, yes, sir.
No, I said, how would I hire my own if I don't have a number? I don't have a number to an attorney, so how would I?
I can't advise you of that, sir. You would have to speak with someone, possibly a family member or friend who may be able to help you out with that. But I can't advise you of that, sir. I'm not allowed to give legal advice here.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good luck to you. I believe that should take us to Mr. Anthony McGee.
He said all the way down on.
Right.
Are you Mr. McGee?
Yes, sir.
Mr. McGee, you were charged with 1 count of DUI less safe and 1 count of open container. The DUI less safe carries a bond amount of $5,000, and the open container carries a bond amount of $500 for a total bond of $5,500. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Now, sir, because of how much you make per month, I'm not going to be able to appoint you a lawyer, so you will have to hire your own.
Yes, sir.
As far as you were charged with misdemeanor, so you have a right to a preliminary hearing, or you can waive it, and I can send your case straight to the prosecutor. What would you like me to do, sir? Have that hearing or waive that hearing?
I'm gonna I'm gonna bond out.
All right, so if you bond out, that's going to automatically waive it. Would you like me to do that on your documents too?
Yes, sir.
All right, so sir, I'm going to show that you asked that you requested that I waive your bond hearing, okay? All right, sir, that's all I have for you. Good luck to you, sir.
Yes, sir, but I do have, I have the $5,500 bond, if I understand correctly.
Yes, sir. All right, so speak to the sheriff and they'll help you get that done.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Next up is Aaron Murray, and after Aaron Murray is Eddie New.
McGee, MCGEG.
Aaron Murray and then Eddie New. Are you Mr. Murray?
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Murray, I'm looking here at the information you provided and what you've been charged with, sir. You've been charged with 1 count of driving with a suspended license and 1 count of stop sign violation, sir. I am going to release you here today. It doesn't mean that your case is being closed. It just means that you will be out on an unsecured bond here today, at which time you need to make sure before you release, sir, that we have your updated address here at the sheriff's office. And so that way, if they need to reach you, they'll be able to reach you and send your new court date to you. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. Your Honor, I have a question though.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I paid for my license to be reinstated on Thursday last week, and it just haven't showed up in the system yet.
Okay, so remember when I said earlier, this is not where I talk to you about your case, sir. So I can't talk to you about that. And so the best advice I can tell you is that you want to speak to the lawyer that I've appointed you this morning. And so then that way they can assist you in getting that resolved, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir, but you will be released. I've appointed you a lawyer, and because you are being released, that's going to waive your preliminary hearing, okay?
Thank you, sir.
All right, good luck to you, sir. All right, next up should be Mr. Eddie New. And after Mr. New is Justin Pointer. Are you Mr. New?
Yes, sir.
Mr. New, you're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass, which carries a bond of $1,500, 1 count of cruelty to children, which carries a bond of $5,000. You're charged with speeding, which carries a bond of $2,500. You're charged with driving with a suspended license, which carries a bond of $1,500. And then lastly, you are charged with aggravated assault. That charge, however, sir, it appears from the information I have that I'm going to deny you bond based on the allegations that I have here. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
It also shows here that you may be on probation out of Clayton County from 2015. And however, if that's incorrect, I'm still denying the bond based on the allegations. Do you understand?
No, I'm not on probation. I got a deal.
Okay, and that's why I wasn't sure, but it looks pretty close here. But regardless, I would have denied bond because of the allegations here. Now, please understand, sir, that if at some point you are given a bond on that aggravated assault, you do have special conditions, sir, and that's to stay away from the alleged victim, Shaquilla Adams, and to stay away from the address of 44 Flint River Road. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, but also she since the warrant.
No, I don't. You don't want to put that on camera. What she may or may not have said. Okay, this is not the place for that. Okay, we're just here to talk about the charges. Do you understand?
Yes. So when is the next court date?
What's that?
When is the next court date before I get a bond?
Yeah, your next court. I'm gonna give you 2 court dates here. The first one's gonna be January 29th of 2024. And that's going to be at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be via Zoom. That's your preliminary hearing because you're charged with felonies. And your bond hearing date is going to be February 15th of 2024. And that's also going to be at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes.
All right, any questions for me about the procedure? Don't ask me questions about your case, because I don't want you to say the wrong thing. Any questions?
I didn't even know about when I get a bond.
All right, sir. Well, that's all I have for you, sir. Good luck to you.
All right.
Next up should be Mr. Justin Pointer. Are you Mr. Pointer?
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Pointer. How are you this morning?
Good morning, sir. Been better. We here.
All right, so Mr. Pointer, you are charged with 1 count of battery and 1 count of simple battery and 1 count of criminal trespass. Your bond amount for the simple battery is $2,500. Your bond amount for the criminal trespass is $1,500 for a total bond of $3,500. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Now, you do have special conditions, and that's to stay away from the alleged victim, Miss Tamara Stewart, and the address of 7193 Blackjack Court. So if you lived at either of those addresses before this happened, sir, and you make your bond, please do not return to that address unless you are accompanied by the sheriff's office. Do you understand?
You said either of those addresses, so. does that
No,
mean that-
just that address, 7193 Blackjack Court.
Yes, sir.
All right, last thing, or two last things. One, based on the income here that you provided, I cannot appoint you a lawyer. So if you'd like one on your case, you will have to hire your own. And then lastly, you are charged with misdemeanors, means you have a right to that preliminary hearing I spoke about earlier, or I can waive it and send your case a little quicker on up to the prosecutor. What would you like for me to do, sir? Have the hearing or set the hearing for you or waive the hearing?
I want the preliminary, sir.
All right, so your preliminary hearing date, I'm gonna go ahead and give that to you here, sir. And that's going to be in 2024 on January 30th. And that's 2024 at 8:30 a.m. And that's via Zoom. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, but keep in mind, if you make that bond, that hearing is going to automatically be waived, okay?
If I make the bond, the hearing, yes, sir. Got you.
Your
Yes, sir.
hearing will be waived. Yes, sir. All right, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Next up is Marcus Stanback, and then after that is Garcia Stillwell, which we probably will have to hold on. But Marcus Stanback. Are you Mr. Stanback?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Stanback, you are charged with 1 count of simple assault family violence. Your bond amount is $3,500. You do have special conditions, and that are to stay away from Miss Reese, Patricia Reese, and then also from the incident location where this occurred. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, the information you provided me here, sir, I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer to assist you on your case free of charge. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Then lastly, I spoke about what is called a preliminary hearing, sir. You have a right to that hearing, or I can waive that hearing and just send you on up to the prosecutor. Your case, what would you like to do? Have the hearing or waive it?
Yeah. I mean.
Okay, you want to have it? So your preliminary hearing date, if you don't make your bond, is going to be January 30th of 2024, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom, okay?
If I waive it, what did they mean?
Waiving means you're not going to get a new court date because you believe you're going to make your bond, and then I'll send your case a little faster on to the prosecutor. But you've already said you want to have it, so let me just keep it set that way. I don't want you to go back and forth. But if you make that bond, sir, it's okay. It'll waive automatically, okay? You got me? All right, good luck to you, sir. Mr. Stillwell, Garcia Stillwell. Are you Mr. Stillwell?
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Stillwell, I have been advised. Give me 1 second, Mr. Stillwell. Okay, Mr. Stillwell, I have been advised here that you have an additional charge that is missing. So I am gonna have to make the jail and the sheriff's office aware of this. So you're gonna have to come back tomorrow so that they can see you tomorrow, okay?
What my first charge is?
Right now, I've got a charge of criminal trespass for you, but apparently there's don't comment. I don't need to know. Don't do that. Right now, that's what I've got you showing is what you're charged with, okay? But there's apparently another charge out there, and I need to have all of them so we can do this correctly. So we're gonna continue you till tomorrow. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, so I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, next up, I have Mr. Tonialo Mayo Thomas Jr. Mr. Thomas Jr.
All the way down to right.
And then after Mr. Thomas is Maurice Tidwell. Are you Mr. Thomas?
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Thomas, you're charged with three things: cruelty to children in the first, simple assault, and criminal trespass. As to the cruelty to children, your bond amount is $15,000. As to the simple assault, your bond amount is $1,500. And as to the trespass, your bond amount is $2,000 for a total bond of $18,500. You do have special conditions, sir, and that they are to stay away from your father here, the alleged victim, Tonialo Mayo Thomas Sr., and then also his granddaughter, whom I believe may be your daughter, Navia Thomas. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Now, you're also to stay away from the address where this was alleged to have happened, that being 4451 Ryan Road. And as I said earlier, Mr. Thomas, to everyone, if you live at that address, then please, by all means, if you make your bond, do not return to that address, even if there are items there that belong to you, unless you are accompanied by the sheriff's office. Do you understand that, sir?
Yeah.
Now, currently, I see here you're making about $2,000 a month. Is that correct?
I was recently laid off. I'm not working.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer this morning that will assist you on your case, okay? All right. So the last thing I need to tell you is if you don't make your bond, your next court date is going to be January 29th at 8:30 a.m. and that's going to be via Zoom, okay?
Second.
Your next court date is going to be, if you don't make your bond, January 29th, 8:30 a.m. and that's going to be via Zoom.
Okay.
All right. Do you have questions for me?
First name.
So I'm wavering. What am I doing?
Okay, so yours is a little different. You're charged with felonies, not misdemeanors. You're talking what we talked about earlier, preliminary hearing. You only have that option to waive if you're charged with misdemeanors. Because you're charged with, cruelty to children in the first is a felony. So as of right now, the police have charged you with a felony. And so you don't have that option. Now, things could change down the line, but right now, those are the charges I have before me, Mr. Thomas. All right, sir. Good luck to you, Mr. Thomas.
So what do I do next?
So now, if you can make bonds, you're gonna try to make your bond between now and as your case proceeds. If not, your next court date, your preliminary hearing is scheduled for January 29th of next year at 8:30 a.m. And that's where they'll review your bond, and you'll have a hearing where the police will have to show, and then your attorney will show, and they're going to consider all the evidence they have against you to see if there's enough for your case to go forward.
I gotta get an attorney.
Or no, I appointed you one free of charge. You weren't an attorney for that kind of a serious charge, sir.
No, I need to get my own attorney.
Well, what I've done is I've gone ahead and appointed you one, but if you choose to get your own, that's no problem. Just when you do that, let the attorney know that he needs to file paperwork. The court will know that he's your new attorney, okay? Go ahead, ask him.
I'm trying to understand the charges.
So we don't want to do that right now. You don't want to get into what the charges.
So I'm just trying to front my next step to do. Like,
Okay.
so I go listen to the court appointed attorney, right?
Correct. So between now and January 29th, you'll have an opportunity to talk to your attorney, and he'll go into more detail about
the holidays. I'm not gonna be out.
No, sir. Not unless you can make your bond. Your bond is, I believe it was 18,000. So remember what I talked about, the three ways you can pay it all in cash. You can pay 12 to 15% through a bonding company, which on your case would be about $2,200. And then they'll put up the rest for you. Or you could have somebody come and bring their deed to their property and they can put up their property.
How much is the so it'd be like what, 10%? Of 18?
12 to 15% of 18,000 is gonna be roughly about $2,200. So you could put that up, you could put it all up in cash, and then they'll return it to you at the end. Or you could have somebody bring their deed to their house down, and they can put up their house until your case is over. That's the only way you're getting out. Otherwise, you've got your next court date is gonna be January 29th.
No.
All right, any other questions, sir?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. Next up is Maurice Tidwell, and then I have Andrew Williams. Are you Mr. Tidwell?
I am, sir.
Mr. Tidwell, you are charged in this matter with one count of obstruction and one count of driving with a hands-free violation, sir. I am gonna release you here today, sir. That does not mean, I need you to be clear with what I'm about to say. Doesn't mean your case is over. Just means that for today, I'm gonna let you go, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Now, based on the information you provided me, sir, you do not qualify for a court-appointed attorney. So if you would like one to assist you in your case, you would have to hire your own. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir, I do.
Now, when you're released, sir, make sure that whatever information on file here at the jail is your most recent address and phone number. That way, when your next court date is sent, it gets to you correctly. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir, I do.
Do you have any questions for me, sir?
No, sir, not at all. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Now, they're gonna have a piece of paper that's gonna be there for you to sign, showing since you're being released, your hearing is being waived. Otherwise, that's all I got for you, sir. Good luck to you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
What's your last name?
Tidwell.
Should be, yeah, Andrew Williams. And then after Mr. Andrew Williams is DeMarcus Williams. Are you Mr. Williams?
Yes, I am.
So, Mr. Williams, I was looking over the information I had for you here this morning for your charges. For some reason, I did not get everything I needed, and so we're missing some of the charges here. So I am, like one of the gentlemen ahead of you, gonna have to continue yours till tomorrow so that we can make sure we have everything we need in order to move forward on your case. Do you understand that, sir? But I hate to do that, but I'm gonna have to bring you back tomorrow so that we've got everything, because for some reason I just do not. And I want to make sure we got everything before we go forward on your case.
The only two charges that was on there that I was not going to be able to bond myself out on last night was DUI and DUI Mr. Safe.
Sure, and those are I'll be honest with you, those are the two I've got questions about, and I don't see the paperwork on it, and so that's why I need to just have them bring you back so they can get all that paperwork together, so we can review it. Okay?
So there's no way for me to get released and
Not today, no, sir. All right, sorry. I'm sorry to have to deliver that news, but I got things I have to abide by as well, legal requirements. So I've got to hold you till at least tomorrow.
because of you said because of you don't have the information on.
Yes, sir. I need certain things to review before we can make a decision about your bond, and I don't have that with me today. And so I'm going to ask that it come tomorrow.
Last name Stevens.
Okay. All right. Lastly, I have DeMarcus Williams. Are you Mr. Williams?
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Williams, you are charged with one count of criminal trespass. Your bond amount is you're charged with one count of criminal trespass.
Right.
Okay, and your bond amount, sir, is $2,500. You do have special conditions, sir. You're gonna have to stay away from Hartsville Airport unless you are there to work or to travel. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I understand that, but how can they charge me with two, how can they give me two CTs though? That's what I'm saying. I told the officer this when I was at the airport, that I wasn't supposed to be at the airport. And he charged me with
Mr. Williams,
That's what I'm saying.
Mr. Williams, I can't talk to you about that. This is not the place for that right now. I'm just here to let you know about what you've been charged with. Do you understand?
I understand that, but that's against a lot of charging person with two.
Mr. Williams, I hear you, but I need you to listen to me right now. I cannot discuss your charges. I am here just to advise you what you're charged with and to set your bond. Your bond is $2,000. You stay away from the airport unless you're there to work or travel. Now you're charged with misdemeanors, Mr. Williams. Do you want to have your preliminary hearing or you want me to waive it for you?
I accept my preliminary hearing.
Okay. All right, sir. So your preliminary hearing, if you don't make your bond, will be January 30th of 2024, and that's gonna be at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that, sir?
Now, how long I gotta sit here?
If you don't make your bond, yes, sir.
Alright, man, go Paris stupid.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
What's your last
All
name?
right, deputies, I believe that's all I have unless I missed someone.
You have a good day, Judge.
All right, thank you. You too.
Thanks, Judge.
All right.